Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scott's Selections here for Sunday, November 24th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick announcement for what happened yesterday. Sorry the video was so short. I was dealing with a pretty bad stomach bug, and I had to cut the video short because I was literally about to vomit. So I ended up cutting it short, and it was about 1:40. Unfortunately, the play also didn't work out as we give it the Raptors -7.5, and they were up 11 with I believe it was 90 seconds left, and they only won by 3. That's pretty unfortunate, but either or, we'll look to bounce back with a win today. Now, in terms of the card, of course, you have football and everything because it is Sunday, but the play that I actually like is going to be in a college basketball matchup that will be taking place on a neutral court, and it's the finals of a tournament. It will be taking place at 5 p.m., and it will be between Villanova and Baylor as they will face off at Myrtle Beach. And I actually like Villanova here at -1.5, which is available at -105 on FanDuel. Some money's come in on Baylor lately, but I'm really not worried about that just because I think Villanova is the much better team. Since it will be taking place on a neutral home court, doesn't exactly exist. However, Villanova tends to travel well, and the fans seem to be very involved in some of the earlier rounds for Villanova. But Baylor, as everyone knows, under Coach Scott Drew, loves to play a zone defense, and I really just don't think that's going to work out against the Villanova team that can shoot the lights out. Villanova, so far this season, is shooting 41.8% from 3, and they're also shooting 72.1% from the foul line. So Baylor is going to be playing a zone. They're going to try to trap. They're going to do whatever they can. And Villanova with Jay Wright, they're always known for their ball movement, their solid defense, and their ability to shoot. And Villanova is the same this year. They can just shoot really well. If you watch them against Mississippi State, the game got a little bit close on numerous occasions, but Villanova just made the right plays at the right time, as Jay Wright's still one of the best coaches in all college basketball. I think Baylor is a solid team. However, if you actually have watched them play, they have played absolutely nobody in this entire tournament. And they've blown people out for this tournament, but if you actually look at who they've played, it's very underwhelming in terms of the strength of schedule. Both teams are ranked. Baylor has beaten Texas State, Ohio, and Coastal Carolina in their 3-game win streak, whereas Villanova has beaten Ohio, Middle Tennessee State, and Mississippi State. Both teams beat Ohio. Ohio's not that great. I mean, Texas State and Middle Tennessee, they're both not great either. But Mississippi State was undefeated going into that last game against Villanova, and Villanova was able to pull away with a 7-point victory late. Villanova's the better rebounding team, they have the higher field goal percentage, and they're the better offensive team. I just think that Villanova will make the necessary plays to break down Baylor's defense. The zone's very effective if you're not used to seeing it, but Jay Wright, I feel like, as just the great coach that he is, I think he will have his players prepared for it, and I think Villanova will be able to cover this 1.5. Plus, they're able to knock down free throws at the end of games, so I definitely think that they could easily blow it open if I'd say in the last minute or two if this game is close and Baylor resorts to fouling. So overall, I think Villanova should get the win. I think they should cover the 1.5. I think Villanova could end up winning this game by double digits. Baylor is a solid team, but at the end of the day, I just simply think Villanova has better players. I think they have a better coaching staff, and I think that schematically, defensively, I think Baylor's going to have some issues as the 2-3 zone typically forces teams to shoot from the outside, which is something that Villanova loves to do anyway. So I think that Villanova should be able to get some penetration with Gillespie and some of the other guys and kick it for some wide-open three-pointers. So for me, the play today will be on Villanova -1.5, which is available on FanDuel at -1.5 at -105. Now, for some of the other leans on today's card, I'll give out some of my leans on the NFL. I'm not going to go over the whole card. I'll just go over some games that I feel like stood out to me. The first game is on Seattle -1.5. Seattle coming in off a bye. Philadelphia, they still have everybody injured. Jeffrey's probably not going to play. Jordan Howard's questionable. The whole team just seems like it's never healthy. And I know last week they gave New England a run for their money. But at the same point, Seattle off a bye. I don't think Philly's going to be able to contain Wilson. I think Seattle's defense has definitely stepped up over the last couple of weeks after they got torched by Tampa Bay a couple weeks ago. Philly, something about them, it just seems off. I don't really know what it is. But if you just watch them play, you feel like they should have a better record than they do, but they just don't make the plays late. The receiving core drops a ton of passes typically, and I think that after Lane Johnson suffered a concussion last week, his status is up in the air. I think Seattle is the healthier team. They're coming in off a bye, and I'm not going against Pete Carroll off a bye. So I'll lean to Seattle on that one. Other than that, looking at the rest of the card, I'm actually going to lean to the Jets +3 here. This line is very interestingly short, as if you look at both teams, Oakland's in the playoff hunt, the Jets have a losing record and will have a pick in the top 10. But yet the Jets are only getting 3 here, which I find a bit interesting. I mean, typically you fade the West Coast team traveling to the East Coast and vice versa. I think Oakland is a better overall team, but the Jets have actually played pretty well lately on offense, and Oakland's defense is still nothing to write home about. I think this game money's coming on the under because of the weather, but as a whole, Darnold's looked pretty good lately. I know it's against the Giants and the Redskins, but Oakland hasn't won many games by margin this year, and I think that the Jets will keep this game close. I think the Jets could win this game outright, but I'll lean to Oakland to win the thing, but I think the Jets could easily cover or push, so I'll lean to the Jets +3 or +3.5 on that one. Moving on, you have Detroit versus Washington. A lot of money coming in on Detroit. Makes sense. Dwayne Haskins looks like a terrible quarterback. And Jeff Driscoll actually looks serviceable behind center last week against the Cowboys. In terms of the game, I would lean to Detroit just because Washington, even when they're at home field, nobody goes to their games anyway. I think Detroit should win this game by a touchdown. Driscoll has some talent. He's got some mobility. And I really just don't think Haskins is an NFL quarterback. I know it's early in his career and he could easily turn it around at some point, but if you watch him play, he just looks absolutely lost. I don't really think he's the answer to Washington's problems, and I think Detroit should be able to get the win by at least a touchdown, so I'll lean to Detroit on that one. Other than that, though, most of the games are at 1 o'clock again. You have 2 games at 4 o'clock between Jacksonville and Tennessee, and the main game, which is between the Cowboys and the Patriots. A lot of money coming in on the Cowboys. They open up at +7. They're down to +6 or +5 in some spots. And for me, a lot of people think the Cowboys are going to win. As a Cowboys fan, I don't know how the hell you pick against Brady and Belichick in Gillette Stadium. I think that's absurd. I know New England's missing a ton of weapons. Sanu's not playing. Dorsett's not playing. New England has pretty much no receivers at all. But you're asking me if I think Belichick is going to come up with a game plan to deal with Dallas. I think they will. Belichick's the greatest coach of all time, and the Cowboys will be without Van Der Esch, who will be out. I know Sean Lee is the backup, and he's a very serviceable linebacker, but in terms of coverage, Sean Lee's definitely lost a step. I think that New England will force-feed James White out of the backfield in the pass game. The issue that I have for this spot is that Dallas, you're asking a dome team that plays in warm weather. They travel to New England to play outdoors in roughly 30-degree weather against arguably the best defense in the entire league. I think that's a problem. I think Dak will struggle, and I think New England will just make the plays necessary late. I think they'll dominate the field position battle. I think New England is going to run the ball down Dallas's throat, open up some play-action passes. I know Brady hasn't looked great lately, but at the same point, they still keep winning, and I will lean to New England. I think this game will be close, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Dak throw a couple picks. And I think that Brady, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, I think New England should be able to win this game by a touchdown. Lean to New England on that one. I hope I'm wrong as a Cowboys fan, but there's no way I'm picking against New England in Gillette. That's insane. And overall, the final game between Green Bay and San Francisco, money's coming on Green Bay. San Francisco opened up at -4. They're currently down to -3. I'm going to take San Francisco -3 here. George Kittle is expected to play in this game. Huge addition for the 49ers offensively. And Green Bay, I'm still not sold on them. I don't know what it is. Something about the team I just don't think is that great. I think they're a bit overrated. The 49ers defense has been very solid. It's been a bit inconsistent over the last week or two after Arizona torched them and even Seattle torched them as well. But for me, I'm going to lean to San Francisco. I think that San Francisco will go back to their power run game. I think Green Bay will rely a lot on Rodgers as usual, but I think San Francisco's pass rush should be able to get to Rodgers repeatedly, as it still has the best. In my opinion, I think it has the best front four in all of the NFL. So I'll lean to San Francisco. I think that game will be close, but I think San Francisco will win by 4 or so. So those are my thoughts on the NFL. Now for the NBA. I'm going to lean to the Nets against the Knicks. Nets are currently at -2.5. They open up at -2, then bet up to -3 in some spots, mostly -2.5. I'm going to take the Nets here. Nets have won 2 straight. New York is playing the second game of back-to-back after losing to the Spurs yesterday. They were down by 20-something. They ended up losing by 7. The first time these two teams played, it was very close, but at the same point, I just think Brooklyn's a better team. Fizdale is on the hot seat with the Knicks, they're going to fire him at the end of the year, and I think that the Knicks have pretty much waved the white flag already. I'll lean to the Nets there. I think that game should be close, but I think the Nets should be able to pull away late. Lean to the Nets. But the play of the day, as I said before, will be on Villanova -1.5, which is available on FanDuel at -105, and that will be the play of the day. Other than that, though, that's going to be this installment of Scott's Selections here for Sunday, November 24th. And good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.